Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily English Lab podcast. Have you been learning English the wrong way? And I'm about to prove it to you in the next 30 seconds. Every single day, I meet students who've studied English for years, spent thousands of dollars on courses, and still can't hold a basic conversation at a coffee shop. But here's the truth that nobody's telling you. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share the exact 7-day system that took my student Maria from being afraid to order food in English to confidently chatting with native speakers at her new job. And I'm not talking about memorizing grammar rules or vocabulary lists. This is about real conversations, the kind you'll actually use tomorrow. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a complete roadmap to speak English naturally in just 1 week. I'm an English teacher who's worked with over 10,000 students from 50 different countries, and I've noticed something fascinating. The students who become fluent the fastest aren't the ones who study the hardest. They're the ones who follow this 7-day method I'm about to share with you. So, if you're serious about finally speaking English confidently, stay with me until the end because I'm revealing the mistake that keeps 90% of learners stuck. But first, I need you to do something for me. Think about the last time you tried to speak English with a native speaker. Did you freeze? Did you forget all the words you studied? Did you feel your heart racing? Comment below and tell me your biggest fear when speaking English. Is it pronunciation? Grammar mistakes? Not finding the right words? I read every single comment, and your answer will help me create even better lessons for you. Here's what I want you to understand. That fear you're feeling, it's not because you're bad at English. It's because traditional English education has completely failed you. They taught you to pass tests, not to have conversations. They made you memorize hundreds of grammar rules, but never showed you how people actually talk in real life. Let me tell you about Chen. He came to me after studying English for 8 years in school. 8 years! He could write perfect essays. He knew every tense, every rule. But when I asked him to introduce himself, he couldn't say 3 sentences without stopping to think. Why? Because nobody taught him the way English is really spoken. And here's the crazy part. When I gave Chen this 7-day system, everything changed. Within 1 week, he was having full conversations. Not perfect conversations, but real ones. The kind where you connect with people, where you express yourself, where you actually communicate. Now, before I break down the 7 days, I need to tell you something that might shock you. Ready? The fastest way to speak English confidently is not to study more English. I know that sounds backwards, but hear me out. Most students think, I need to learn more words, more grammar, more phrasal verbs, so they study for hours every day and they still can't speak. Why? Because they're building knowledge, not skills. And speaking is a skill, just like swimming or riding a bike. You wouldn't learn to swim by reading books about swimming, right? You'd get in the water. That's exactly what we're going to do with English. Let's start with day 1. I call this the foundation day. And here's what you're going to do. First, wake up and spend exactly 5 minutes having a conversation with yourself in English. I know it sounds weird, but trust me on this. Go to your mirror, look at yourself, and talk about your plans for the day. It might sound like this. Okay, today I'm going to work. Then I'll have lunch with my friend. After that, I need to go to the supermarket. Simple sentences, present tense. Just describe your day. Why does this work? Because you're training your brain to think in English, not translate from your native language. And here's the secret most teachers don't tell you. Thinking in English is the key to fluency. But wait, there's more to day 1. Throughout the day, I want you to narrate your actions in English. When you're making coffee, say out loud, I'm making coffee. I'm adding sugar. Now I'm adding milk. When you're walking, say, I'm walking to the bus stop. The weather is nice today. You're probably thinking, this is too simple. I already know these words. But that's exactly the point. We're not learning new English. We're activating the English you already know. We're moving it from your passive knowledge to your active speaking ability. And here's what happened with my student Aisha on day 1. She sent me a voice message and said, Teacher, I feel stupid talking to myself. I told her, Aisha, Every single fluent English speaker I know has done this. It works because you're practicing without the pressure of someone listening and judging you. By the end of day 1, you should have spoken English to yourself for at least 30 minutes total. Not studied, spoken. There's a huge difference. Quick question. How many of you have tried to speak English to yourself before? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you haven't tried it yet, I want you to pause this video right now, go to a mirror, and speak English for just 2 minutes. Describe what you're wearing, what you can see around you, how you're feeling. Then come back and tell me how it felt. All right, welcome to day 2. This is the listening day, but not the kind of listening your teacher taught you. Here's what most students do wrong. They listen to BBC News or TED Talks or academic lectures, and they understand maybe 30%, get frustrated, and give up. Stop doing that. On day 2, you're going to listen to content you actually enjoy. And here's the trick. You're going to listen to the same thing 3 times. Find a YouTube video or a podcast episode in English that interests you. It could be about cooking, sports, technology, fashion, whatever you love. The video should be 5 to 10 minutes long, not too long, because we're going to dig deep into it. First listen, just watch and enjoy. Don't stop, don't take notes, don't stress about understanding every word. Just get the general idea. Second listen. Now pay attention to how people speak. Notice the rhythm, the intonation, the way they connect words together. Native speakers don't say, "What are you doing?" They say, "What are you doing?" They don't say, "I am going to go." They say, "I'm going to go." This is real English, not textbook English. Third listen. This is where the magic happens. Try to repeat what you hear, copying the exact way they say it. Not just the words, but the feeling, the energy, the natural flow. Let me tell you about Miguel. On day 2, he chose a video about football because he loves football. He watched it 3 times, and by the 3rd time, he could repeat entire sentences with the same intonation as the native speaker. 2 days later, he used one of those phrases in a real conversation at work, and his colleague said, "Wow, your English is really improving." That's the power of listening actively, not passively. But here's something crucial that I haven't told you yet. And this is the mistake that 90% of students make, even when they're following this system. They go through day 1 and day 2. They're excited, they're motivated, but then they skip day 3 because they think they already understand it. Big mistake. Day 3 is where everything clicks together. It's where your passive English becomes active English. So don't skip ahead, and definitely don't think you can do this in less than 7 days. Each day builds on the previous one. Miss one day, and the whole system doesn't work as well. Stick with me here. Day 3 is the shadow speaking day. This is one of the most powerful techniques I've ever taught, and it's how actors learn to speak with different accents. Here's what you do. Take that video you listened to on day 2. Play it, but this time, speak along with the person in the video. At the exact same time, like their shadow. Match their speed, their tone, their emotion, everything. It's going to feel difficult at first. You'll stumble, you'll miss words, you'll fall behind. That's completely normal. The goal with speaking English requires your mouth to make sounds that don't exist in your native language. Your tongue has to move differently. Your lips have to form different shapes. Shadow speaking trains your physical ability to produce English sounds. Try this right now. Say the word 3. Not tree, but 3. Put your tongue between your teeth. That sound doesn't exist in many languages. You need to practice it physically, not just understand it mentally. I had a student from Brazil named Paulo who struggled with this sound for months. On day 3, he shadow spoke a video about technology, and that video used the word 3 and through and thought dozens of times. By the end of the day, he had practiced those sounds hundreds of times without even trying, just by shadowing. A week later, his pronunciation had completely transformed. Here's what I want you to do on day 3. Find 30 minutes, no interruptions. Shadow speak your chosen video at least 5 times. By the 5th time, you should be matching the speaker almost perfectly. Your brain is learning the natural rhythm of English. Pause for a second. How confident do you feel about trying shadow speaking? On a scale of 1 to 10, drop a number in the comments. And if you're worried about making mistakes, let me tell you something. Making mistakes is how you learn. I've never met a fluent English speaker who didn't make thousands of mistakes along the way. Now we're at day 4, and this is where things get exciting. I call this the response day. Up until now, you've been speaking to yourself and copying other people. Today, you're going to start having real interactions, but in a safe way. Here's how. Go to YouTube and find English Q&A videos. There are thousands of them. Someone asks a question, and you're going to pause the video and answer it out loud before the person in the video answers. Don't write it down. Speak it. The question might be, what do you like to do on weekends? Pause the video and say your answer out loud. On weekends, I like to meet my friends. We usually go to a cafe or watch movies together. Sometimes I stay home and read. See what I did there? I gave a complete answer, not just, I like to meet my friends. This is how native speakers talk. They give context, they add details, they explain. After you answer, play the video and listen to how the native speaker answered. Compare it to your answer. Did they use any phrases you didn't think of? Did they structure their answer differently? Here's the beautiful thing about day 4. You're learning conversational patterns. You're training your brain to respond quickly without translating. And you're building confidence because nobody's judging you. You can answer the same question 10 times if you want, each time improving your response. My student Yuki told me that day 4 changed everything for her. She said, before, when someone asked me a question in English, my mind went blank. Now I can actually respond because I've practiced responding hundreds of times. On day 4, I want you to answer at least 20 different questions out loud. 20 might sound like a lot, but it'll take you maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And by question 20, you'll notice you're responding faster, more naturally, with less hesitation. Let me test you right now. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to pause this video and answer out loud. Ready? Here's the question. What's your favorite food, and why do you like it? Pause now and answer. I'll wait. Good. How'd that feel? Did you hesitate? Did you need to translate? Did you manage to say more than one sentence? Whatever happened, you're already practicing the skill of responding in English. Welcome to day 5. This is the writing day, but not formal writing or essay writing. We're doing conversational writing. Here's what you're going to do. Find a language exchange app or website. There are tons of free ones like HelloTalk, Tandem, or even just Reddit communities for English learners. And you're going to have written conversations with people. Why writing? Because it gives you time to think. It's less pressure than speaking in real time. But here's the key. Write the way you speak, not the way you learned in textbooks. Instead of writing, I am pleased to make your acquaintance, write, hey, nice to meet you. Use contractions. Use casual language. Use the expressions you've been learning all week. On day 5, I want you to have 3 conversations. Each conversation should have at least 10 exchanges back and forth. Talk about anything: hobbies, work, movies, travel, food. The topic doesn't matter. What matters is that you're practicing natural conversation. Here's why this works so well. When you write conversationally, you're preparing your brain for speaking. You're thinking of what to say without the time pressure of someone standing in front of you waiting for an answer. And when you read the other person's responses, you're seeing how native speakers naturally express themselves. My student Lynn used day 5 to chat with 3 different people from the United States, the UK, and Australia. She told me, "Teacher, I learned more slang and casual expressions in 1 day than I learned in 5 years of school." And here's the best part. When she moved to day 6 and started speaking, all those expressions came naturally because she'd already used them in writing. One more thing about day 5. Don't stress about grammar. If you make a mistake and the person understands you, that's a success. Communication is about being understood, not about being perfect. Okay, I need to stop here and talk about the 3 biggest mistakes I see students make during their 7-day journey. Because if you make these mistakes, the system won't work. Mistake number 1, skipping days. Some students try to do day 1, day 2, and day 3 all in 1 day. Don't do that. Your brain needs time to process. Each day builds on the previous day. Sleep is when your brain consolidates learning. Give yourself the full 7 days. Mistake number 2, being too hard on yourself. I see this all the time. Students try day 1, they stumble over words, and they think, "I'm terrible at this, it's not working." Listen to me. Every single fluent speaker was once a beginner who made mistakes. The difference between them and people who never become fluent is that they kept going. They didn't quit after 1 bad day. Mistake number 3, only doing the minimum. If I say, speak to yourself for 5 minutes, some students do exactly 5 minutes and think they're done. The students who make the most progress are the ones who exceed the minimum. They speak to themselves for 10 minutes. They shadow speak 6 times instead of 5. They answer 30 questions instead of 20. Which type of student are you going to be? The one who does the minimum or the one who goes beyond the minimum? Comment below and commit to this right now. Type, "I'm going beyond the minimum" if you're serious about becoming fluent. And if you're finding this helpful so far, hit that subscribe button. I post new English lessons every week, and I promise every single one is designed to get you real results, not just theory. All right, day 6. This is the day you've been building toward. I call it the speaking day. And here's where you have your first real spoken conversation with another person in English. Now, I know what you're thinking. But teacher, I'm not ready. I'll make mistakes. What if I can't understand them? Perfect. That's exactly why we're doing it on day 6, not day 1. You've prepared for 5 days. You're ready. Here's how to set yourself up for success. Use a language exchange app or find a conversation partner online. There are websites where you can book free 15-minute conversations with native speakers or other learners. Find someone friendly and patient. Before the conversation, decide on 3 topics you want to talk about. Maybe your job, your hobbies, and your goals for learning English. For each topic, think of 3 things you want to say. You don't need to memorize exact sentences, just have a rough idea. When the conversation starts, be honest. Say, "Hi, I'm practicing my English. I might make mistakes, but I'm working on improving." Any good conversation partner will appreciate your honesty and help you. Here's what usually happens on day 6. The first 5 minutes are scary. Your heart is racing, you're nervous, you're overthinking every word. But then something magical happens. You start relaxing. You realize you can communicate. You might not say everything perfectly, but they understand you. You understand them. You're having a real English conversation. My student Ahmed had his day 6 conversation with a teacher from Canada. He told me afterward, "For the first time in my life, I felt like an English speaker, not an English student." That feeling is what we're chasing. That's when you know the system is working. On day 6, try to have at least one 15 to 20-minute conversation. If you can do 2, even better. But quality matters more than quantity. One good conversation where you really engage is better than 5 conversations where you're just saying yes and no. Now, let me share something with you that most English teachers will never tell you, because honestly, most of them don't even know it. Fluency isn't about knowing more English. It's about using the English you already know with confidence. Think about it. How many English words do you already understand? Probably thousands. How many words do you actually use in a typical conversation? Probably less than 100 in a typical conversation. Native speakers don't use big, complicated vocabulary in everyday conversations. They use simple words in natural combinations. They say, "Can you help me?" Not, "Would you be so kind as to provide me with assistance?" They say, "I'm running late." Not, "My arrival will be delayed due to unforeseen circumstances." The goal of these 7 days isn't to teach you new English. It's to unlock the English that's already in your head. It's to train your brain and your mouth to access it quickly and naturally. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop worrying about not knowing enough and start focusing on using what you know. Finally, we've reached day 7. I call this the confidence day, and it's all about pushing yourself just a little bit further. On day 7, you're going to do something that scares most English learners. You're going to use English in the real world, not just in practice conversations. Here are some ideas. Call a business and ask a question in English. Order food at a restaurant in English. Ask for directions in English. Comment on an English YouTube video in English. Send an email to a company in English. Join an English-speaking online community and introduce yourself. The activity doesn't matter. What matters is that it's real. It's not practice. It's actual communication with actual stakes. Why is this so important? Because this is what builds real confidence. When you successfully communicate in English in the real world, your brain registers it as proof that you can do this. And that proof is more powerful than any motivation I could give you. My student, Sophia, did something incredible on day 7. She's from Spain, and she had always been terrified of speaking English on the phone. On day 7, she called a hotel in London to ask about room rates. The conversation lasted 3 minutes. She understood everything, they understood her, she got the information she needed. She sent me a message saying, "I can't believe I just did that. I was so nervous, but I did it." That's the feeling I want you to have on day 7. That sense of accomplishment. That proof that you're no longer just studying English, you're using it. On day 7, challenge yourself to use English in at least 3 real-world situations. Make them progressively more challenging. Maybe start with something written, like a comment or email. Then move to something verbal, like a phone call or face-to-face interaction. And here's a bonus tip for day 7. Record yourself having a conversation or talking about your week. Save it, and a month, come back and listen to it. You'll be amazed at how much you've improved. Remember at the beginning when I told you there's one mistake that keeps 90% of learners stuck? Here it is. They treat English like something to study instead of something to do. They collect grammar rules like trading cards. They make vocabulary lists that they never use. They watch hours of English content but never speak. And then they wonder why they can't have a conversation. This 7-day system works because it flips that completely. Every single day, you're doing English. You're speaking, listening actively, shadowing, responding, writing conversationally, having real conversations, using English in the real world. Knowledge without action is useless, but action, even imperfect action, builds skill, and skills transform your life. So don't be the student who just watches this video and thinks, that's interesting, and then does nothing. Be the student who starts day 1 tomorrow morning. Be the student who commits to 7 days of action. I want to hear from you. What's one thing you're going to do differently after watching this video? Comment below and make that commitment public. Research shows that when you tell other people your goals, you're way more likely to follow through. So comment right now and tell me your plan. Before we wrap up, I want to give you some bonus tips that will make your 7-day journey even more successful. Tip number 1, create an English environment. Change your phone language to English, follow English accounts on social media, watch Netflix with English subtitles. Surround yourself with English so it becomes part of your daily life, not just something you do for 30 minutes and then forget about. Tip number 2, find an accountability partner. Do these 7 days with a friend who's also learning English. Check in with each other every day. Practice together. Encourage each other when it gets difficult. Tip number 3, track your progress. Use a notebook or your phone to write down one thing you learned or one small victory every day. On day 7, read through all 6 previous days. You'll see how far you've come in just 1 week. Tip number 4, celebrate small wins. Manage to speak to yourself for 5 minutes without stopping? That's a win. Shadowed a video and matched the speaker's intonation? That's a win. Had a conversation where you understood 70% instead of 50%? That's a win. Don't wait until you're fluent to feel proud of yourself. Every step forward deserves celebration. Let me share one more success story with you. I had a student named Hassan who followed this 7-day system exactly as I've taught you. On day 1, he could barely string 3 sentences together with long pauses. On day 7, he had a 20-minute conversation about his engineering work with a native speaker from the United States. But here's what's even more impressive. 3 months later, Hassan sent me a video. He had just given a presentation in English to his entire company. 40 people. And he did it confidently, clearly, naturally. He told me, "Teacher, those 7 days changed my relationship with English. I stopped seeing it as this impossible mountain to climb and started seeing it as a skill I could practice every day, just like going to the gym." That's what I want for you. I want English to stop being this source of stress and anxiety and become a tool that opens doors in your life. Better job opportunities, new friendships, the ability to travel with confidence, access to knowledge and entertainment that isn't available in your native language. Now, you might be wondering, what happens after day 7? Do I just stop? Absolutely not. Day 7 isn't the end. It's the beginning. After you complete the 7 days, here's what I recommend. Create a weekly schedule using the same techniques. Maybe Monday is speaking day, Wednesday is listening day, Friday is writing day. Keep the habit going. And here's something crucial. The 7-day system gets easier every time you repeat it. The first time through, day 6 might be terrifying. The second time through, it's just slightly nerve-wracking. The third time, it's exciting. By the 4th time, it's fun. That's how confidence builds. Not all at once, but gradually, through repeated action. I also recommend setting specific goals after your first 7 days. Maybe your goal is to watch an entire movie in English without subtitles. Maybe it's to have a 30-minute conversation about a complex topic. Maybe it's to pass a job interview in English. Whatever your goal is, break it down into 7-day cycles. What would you need to practice in week 1, week 2, week 3? Use the same system as your foundation and build on it. And remember, Fluency is a journey, not a destination. I've been speaking English for 20 years, and I'm still learning new expressions, still improving my accent, still expanding my vocabulary. The difference is, I enjoy the process now. I'm not stressed about being perfect. I'm excited about getting better. Let me talk about mindset for a minute, because this is just as important as the techniques I've taught you. Most English learners have what I call a fixed mindset about language. They believe some people are good at languages and some people aren't. They think fluency is a talent you're born with. That's completely wrong. Fluency is a skill you develop through practice. Every single person can learn to speak English confidently. The only difference between people who succeed and people who don't is consistency and the right method. If you follow this 7-day system, you will improve. Not might improve, will improve. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's science. Your brain is designed to learn through repetition and immersion. This system gives your brain exactly what it needs. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to trust the process. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress. There will be moments when you make embarrassing mistakes. There will be times when you want to give up. That's when you come back to this video. That's when you remember why you started. That's when you push through for one more day, one more conversation, one more attempt. I've seen students transform in 7 days. I've seen complete beginners become conversational speakers. I've seen people who've been stuck for years suddenly break through. And none of them were special. They just followed the system and didn't give up. You can be one of those success stories. Actually, let me rephrase that. You will be one of those success stories if you commit to these 7 days. All right, we're almost at the end, and I want to make sure you take action on everything we've covered. Here's what I need you to do right now. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. First, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Do it now. I post new English lessons every single week, and each one is packed with practical techniques like what you learned today. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson. Second, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. It tells YouTube to show this video to more English learners who need it. You're not just helping yourself, you're helping thousands of other English learners find the resources they need to improve. And third, and this is the most important one, commit to starting day 1 tomorrow. Not next week, not next month, tomorrow. Go to bed tonight knowing that tomorrow morning you're going to stand in front of a mirror and speak English to yourself for 5 minutes. And fourth, share this video with someone who's learning English. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, a colleague. Send them the link and say, let's do this 7-day challenge together. Accountability makes everything easier. Before we finish, I want to tell you about some resources that can help you even more. If you look in the description below this video, I've put links to language exchange apps, conversation practice websites, and other free resources you can use during your 7 days. I've also created a printable 7-day tracker that you can download. It has checkboxes for each day and space to write your progress. Sometimes having something physical makes it easier to stay committed. And if you want more personalized help, I offer group coaching programs where I guide students through this 7-day system and beyond. The link is in the description if you're interested. But honestly, everything you need to get started is right here in this free video. The paid programs just give you more support and accountability.